Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. In today's video we'll be going through old coins that remain and are still legal tender to spend and to use within the United Kingdom. These coins range from 1817 to 2024, the full range of dates available to be spent on coins in this country, and we're going to go back in time starting with today, the coins of today, and then going back all the way to 1817 with the oldest coin that can still be spent as legal tender within the United Kingdom. We begin with our first old date, 1990, and to many of you this isn't too old at all, but this coin is of course the £5 coin, which was released in 1990. The first one here can be seen on screen, commemorating Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother's 90th birthday in 1990, when the £5 coin was first introduced and was of course legal tender, as if not, it would not be a coin. Now £5 coins have been regularly minted all the way from 1990 to 2024, and all £5 coins remain legal tender currency in the United Kingdom, the same legislation under law as the pound coin or any smaller coins you would use, and as mentioned they are still made today, and I suspect long into the future, and remaining legal tender to use, so if you didn't know about that, now you do. Moving further back in time now to 1986, the year we saw the introduction of the £2 coin. Here is the first one. This is a commemorative design featuring the thistle there for the Commonwealth Games held in Scotland of that year, and then we have here to the obverse the denomination of £2 below the Queen's third portrait by Raphael McLoof. Now these older style one metal £2 coins were minted for 10 years between 1986 up to 1996, because the year after, in 1997, the bimetallic £2 coin was released, the £2 coin we still use more commonly in our change today. However, all 7 of the designs of the old £2 coins were never demonetised, meaning the old £2 coins hold the exact same legal status as the new £2 coins and remain just as usable and legal as the new £2 coin, of course, though they are much, much less commonly seen. Jumping back much further in history now to 1887, we have here the 1887 double florin coin, a new denomination released that year of 1887 for the Queen's Golden Jubilee, of course the Queen being Queen Victoria, who features here to the obverse with the Jubilee head by Sir Joseph Edgar Boehm. Now this is a very cool coin, as it's the first really old coin to be legal tender. A Victorian coin that is still legal tender, minted for only 4 years, between 1887 up to 1890, all of them featuring the Jubilee head. When used in Victorian times, the coin had a value of 48 pence, which was 4 shillings or 2 florins, therefore a double florin, or 1/5 of a pound sterling, so 5 of these coins back in every pound sterling in the day. However, it is still today, as the coin was never demonetised. They stopped making them in 1890 and never demonetised them. So this year, in 2024, a double florin can still be spent, still for the same value of 1/5 of a pound. Of course, today, that is 20 pence. So a very cool thought that you can still legally spend Victorian coinage in 2024, although of course it is worth more than 20p for the collector value. Moving back even further in time now to 1818, we have here a George III coin from 1818. Over 200 years old, King George III coinage can still be spent legally in the UK. As you can see here by the reverse, this is none other than the mighty crown, a 5 shilling coin back then with a 38.61mm diameter, a huge lump of silver from Georgian times, back then worth 60 pence, 5 shillings or 1/4 of a pound, so there'd be 4 of them to the pound back then. And still to this day, as all crowns remain legal tender, worth 1/4 of a pound sterling, of course after decimalisation, now is 25 pence to the 100 pence pound. But you can still of course legally spend George III crowns, Queen Victoria crowns, and even up to the more modern, not silver crowns, such as the very, very common Churchill crown, as we can see there, a coin lots of collectors have, but might not know they can indeed spend. Any crown made between 1818 up to 1990 is a valid legal tender coin for purchases and debt paying in the United Kingdom. And now back even further to the oldest year of coin still legal tender in the UK, 1817, and the introduction of the modern sovereign. Well over 200 years ago, King George III ordered a new gold coin to be struck, the gold sovereign. Minted after the Napoleonic Wars, when the coinage needed redoing, it was minted over 200 years ago, but can still be spent and can still be used legally in the UK, and it is the UK's oldest coin to remain legal tender for purchases and payment of debt in the United Kingdom. The coin has been minted from 1817 and still to the present day. Every year a new gold sovereign was released, and all of these years, over 200 years worth of sovereigns, are all still legal tender to the value of £1. Of course, back in the day, back in pre-decimal times, £1 would have been worth 240 pence, and of course today, £1 is worth 100 pence. And there was another coin released that year in 1817, the coin we can see on screen now. Another lovely old gold coin from the 1817 year of the sovereign. Of course, is also the year of the half sovereign, very clearly worth 1/2 of a sovereign, and so therefore 50p today. Also in 1820, a few years later down the line, the double sovereign was introduced, and again I'm sure you can guess the value. It is £2, and of course is still legal tender today, over 200 years later, as a £2 coin. And the final and the highest denomination of sovereign was also released in 1820, and that is the quintuple sovereign, or the 5 sovereign, and you guessed it is worth £5. So all of these lovely George III gold coins are still legal tender, and of course any sovereigns minted under the reign of any other monarch from any sovereign type is also legal tender. So George IV, William IV, Victoria, Edward VII, George V, George VI, all the sovereigns are still legal tender. And better yet, in 2009, the quarter sovereign was added to the mix as the 5th denomination of sovereign. So all of these are still legal tender. The quarter sovereign, 25 pence, the half sovereign, 50 pence, the sovereign, £1, the double sovereign, £2, and the quintuple sovereign, £5. All styles of sovereign remain legal. And that's about it. As of course you know, anything older, such as hammered coins, were all demonetised in 1697 under King William III, who demonetised all hammered coins, and pretty much everything else was demonetised in the Great Recoinage of 1817, when the sovereigns were introduced, and all copper coins were demonetised in 1869 after the move to bronze coinage in 1860, giving 9 years for the changeover to happen. So then, in summary, what old coins are still legal tender? Well, we have, of course, all £5 coins, still legal tender at the value of £5. We also have all the old £2 coins, just as valid and legal as the ones we send every day. The old £2 coins, though, are not spent very much and more collectible, but they can be. All double florins are, of course, legal tender, as I say, at 1/5 of a pound, so 20 pence per double florin. And then, of course, as well, all crowns between 1818 and 1990 remain legal tender at 1/4 of a pound, so 25 pence. Of course, all milled gold sovereigns are legal tender from 1817 onwards, over 200 years of history there, to be spent if you truly wish to do so. And of course, all milled half sovereigns are as well legal tender, as we know, the same as the sovereign, just worth half the sovereign, as of course it's a half sovereign. As I say, all double sovereigns are of course as well legal tender, worth double the value of a sovereign, so £2 to spend, although of course these coins are very high values in gold, so I wouldn't recommend it. And finally, all quintuple sovereigns are legal tender as well, at £5 face value, but of course much more for the gold value. So there we go, there are all the old coins still legal tender within the UK to be spent if you wish to, but of course mainly for all of these they're worth more to the collectors. Now of course in more modern times, from 1990 onwards, many new coins and new denominations have been struck that are legal tender that you might not have heard of, so comment down below if you'd like a video on modern coins you might not know are legal tender. Please of course do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching to the end, that is much appreciated, and we'll see you again soon for some more coins in the future on Bits and Bobs. Bye for now.